All right, I'm going to show you today how to draw the drawer from the top view. So it's like we're looking straight down at the drawer to see how long the components of the drawer need to be. So we're going to just slide this example plan over a little bit, and we're going to scroll up to our top view because we need to know that size for the drawing. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the the dimensions from the top or the front view to be able to determine the length. So typically what needs to happen is the inside of the drawer, the box, needs to be 1 inch smaller than the opening exactly. If it's not, then what happens is the drawer slides will not work correctly, or they will get they'll bind. And so we're going to start by taking this size is 12 inches minus an inch and a half. An inch and a half is 3 inches. So 12 minus 3 would be 9. 9 inches is how big this opening is. Okay, so we're going to take 9 inches, but now we have to subtract an inch. That leaves a ½ inch each side for the rollers. And so 9 minus 1 is going to be 8. So we're going to make this drawer 8 inches wide. So I'm going to come out here on SketchUp and I'm going to draw a line that's 8 inches wide. Then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to look at my back view, or sorry, my side view to show you how deep this project is. So with the face frame to the very back is 12 inches. Now you drew that groove for the backing to fit into on the inside side view, right? You got your face frame, you've got your plywood, you've got the groove for the back. We got to make sure when we shut the drawer that the drawer does not hit the back of the backing. So we want to make this, if our project's 12 inches deep from front to back, we're going to, 12 inches right here, we're going to subtract 2 inches. That will give us enough room to safely build our project. So we're going to come in 10 inches from front to back. 2 inches shorter than the cabinet width or the depth from front to back. We were 8 inches by 10 inches. So I'm going to zoom into this so we can see it a little closer. This would be our drawer. And now what we're going to do is we got to make this plywood box. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come in 3/4 of an inch all the way around. So 3/4 down. Whoops. Find the right mark. And I'm going to come in 3/4. So I'm coming in, I'm drawing that 3/4 all the way around and getting my size of my plywood drawn. We're using 3/4 plywood to build the project, and typically we're just building the drawer with leftover plywood from the excess sheet of plywood. That way we don't have to buy extra material or build it out of more solid lumber, things like that. The plywood from the sides and the bottom work just fine. So what I like to do is on the front of the cabinet, I like this to be my overall length. So I don't want to change this. So I'm going to draw the rabbits in there. Let me get back to that top view to show you. We've got rabbits on the front view right here. So there's some variability. If this was my front over here, then I would have to do some math and exactly make sure that this is perfectly the right size when we're done. Right now, if we just cut this 1 inch smaller than the opening, we know it's not going to get any smaller or bigger, and then we can put our rabbits on there. So I like to put my rabbit on the front and the back of the drawing. So I'm going to come up here. I've got these straight lines going straight across, and we're going to just fill this in. So typically, if we look here, we're going to come from the straight edge, we're going to come down 3/8 and back over 3/4, however you want to do that. So we're going to come down 3/8, and then I'm going to come over 3/4 of an inch, and I've created a rabbit right there. Now I'm going to erase this line right here, because that shows me that that's notched in. So we're going to do the same to all these joints. We're going to come in 3/8 and over. And we're going to come in 3/8 and over and in 3/8 and over. And now all I got to do is come in and delete these lines that don't need to be there. That one and that one and that one. And oops, that's the one I wanted. That one and that one. So now we've got the front and the back. That should be our original 8 inches. Nothing has changed there. And we have our sides here. That should be overall 10 inches deep. Okay. Now the sides, the length of the sides should be 10 minus 3/8 and 3/8. 3/8 together twice is 3/4. So 10 minus 3/4 is 9 1/4. That looks right. And just for some simplicity later on, it might be beneficial just to maybe dimension these so you know how big that dado is. The other thing we're going to see on the front view is the solid drawer, on the top view of the drawer is the solid drawer front. So the solid drawer front is typically 1 inch bigger than the opening. So if we get back to our front view, you can see here it's drawn at 10 inches wide, and our opening was 9 inches. So we come up here. If we take the opening of 9 inches, okay, and we add an inch because it's going to overlay a 1/2 inch all the way around, that gives us an inch total. So we're going to take 9 plus an inch is 10. So that's 2 inches difference. So if we know that this is 8 and we need to draw 10, we're going to come off 1 inch off of each side. And it can be about 7/8 thick. And from the other side, we're going to come off 1 inch and up 7/8 and connect the dots. So this would be our solid front, and we can label that. And this one, just so we are aware, there are 2 fronts. This is our plywood drawer front. Okay. And you don't really necessarily need to put wood grain on this because these would be plywood layers. It wouldn't be wood grain anyways. The only one that would really have wood grain would be the front, and that grain would run side to side. You don't have to put it on there, but if you want to, you can. You can see that there's not much grain because of the size of the pattern anyways and how narrow that board is. So for this, we would want to just then dimension this to make sure it is 1 inch bigger. I'm going to pull it down past this writing. I don't want any of my dimension lines cutting into each other. You see this one's cutting in, so we need to move this so that it pops it out so that it's very clear and precise of what we're doing. Okay, hopefully this helps make the drawer drawing process easier for you. Let me know if you have any questions.